Hey, and welcome to this pres- primal. Welcome to the Primal Persistence podcast. Today is just going to be a more raw my thoughts. I just had these questions. It's very up to topic these days. It's just the start of February. Everybody's had their fantastic New Year's resolution, working on these new diets and going all strictly keto, paleo, LCHF, or whatever you're doing. But today I would like to talk about why you shouldn't be following one specific diet plan 100%, but trying a n equals 1 experiment with yourself, and then take the plan that fits best with you, and then testing what's working for you and what isn't working. So let's get started with this in the beginning, and then I have planned one more of these all out raw podcast episodes in the next couple of weeks, where I will be talking about my preferred way of dieting and exactly what I do with my clients and what I think is a good starting place for a lot of people. So let's get started with why you shouldn't follow a specific diet plan 100%, and why it shouldn't be a diet plan, it should be a lifestyle plan. Many healthy eating templates make the basis of their approach, that the basis and the approach is on dietary restrictions. So this is my notes I've just written down here. It's a lot of the things I see, and a lot of the trouble I see for people is that they start a diet, especially here in the beginning of the year, and they use a diet plan like, oh, nearly every diet plan is based on restrictions and limits. It's based on a limit. You can't have this, you can't have that. And in the beginning, that's okay. We need to get some very hard lines out, and get things out of your diet, like especially the one thing that I think should be limited, and or limited to be avoided, should be erased, restricted, shouldn't be there at all, should be all bad trans fats and fats, bad fats in general. So highly processed canola oil and seed oil and grapeseed oil and all these very highly processed foods, oils, those are the only thing that I think that should be completely limited in your diet. But a lot of these things are based on limits, and this won't get you satiated and get the feeling. We need to think about the feeling you have inside as well. So a lot of these things that we see that's been up, it can be things like fasting, intermittent fasting. It could be paleo. It could be raw. It could be LCHF. It could be keto, or it could even be basing everything on a glycemic index that you can only have some portion of glycemic index. There are a lot of these things that are fantastic. I think the paleo approach has evolved a lot from when it started. If you look a little back on my podcast, I had the Sarah on with her fantastic book that's here on my shelf, The Primal Principles. This is fantastic. She she talks about the gray zones as well. What's not fantastic, what's not all primal, but what can be okay, like lentils for some people, like dairy can be fantastic for a lot of people. This is a fantastic way for you to look at the paleo diet as not being so strict. You can only have this and that, but today you can go into any supermarket, bigger supermarket, and you can find paleo approved pancakes and bars and paleo approved shakes. I'm really sorry, but if you base your diet on a paleo approach, you cannot have a grass-fed shake. If you think you're gonna eat like a caveman, he didn't have any grass-fed shakes at all. But he might have some kind of dairy, or he would at least eat it if it were, and it is there, and fermented food, everything. We need to think a little out of the box, and then maybe make the caveman a little newer so he isn't all old. And grains can be perfectly fine for some people in the right amount. It's still a great source of a lot of things if you can do it, if you can tolerate it, and if you can cook it right. If you soak it, sprout it, and if you make a sourdough bread, it's for a lot of people perfectly okay. But all these diets make the huge error and assuming that the best or the only way to achieve your healthy goal or diet is on limiting food. I really don't like this limited food choices is the only way. It's like saying you can only get strong legs by doing squats. You can do a lot of things for getting strong legs, but squats is a very, very good exercise. Like limiting your carbs for a beginning period and then introducing them again and finding out where you are. It's not all black and white. We need to find what's working for you. So you need to experiment to what's working for you, and you can maybe get a lot more satiated with a little bad stuff once in a while, and you can then do a 5 days that are more strict and fantastic, and then loosening it up a little if you're doing like a more endurance style workout, then mixing up with your long rides and runs in the weekend and getting some more carbs in here. This can be fantastic with some wild rice or white rice if you're very hardcore training and you just need these very quick carbs. So you need to test out what's working for you in your diet, and it is only for a limited time that you can say, I believe. I haven't seen a lot of people that can stick to this in the long term, that can say, hey, I started 20 years ago, no sugar, all 100% perfect keto, whatever it can be. This won't stick in the long term. So try to find out what's working and then find something in between that's working. You need to find your own methods that are working for you in your diet, in your lifestyle. Some limits, as I said, some limits can be fine. What you need to limit some things, like I said on the bad oils, you need to avoid them. Other methods that aren't limits, but you have to weigh what you eat, and then you limit yourself to this amount of carbs. Your day fluctuates a lot. I only think you should weigh and measure what you eat. If you have a strict short-term goal, like a bodybuilding goal or a fitness goal or a wedding goal, that where you need to have some kind of fantastic goal fitting into your new fantastic dress. So there are a lot of things here. Diets can be based on numbers and it can be based on strict limits, but I don't think that anybody can stick to this in the long term. Basing your eating on limit is super hard, and I have to stress this again because you need to fulfill all your physical needs. You need to fill firstly your nutritional needs. You need to get enough calories in, and then you need to you need to satiate all your vitamin needs, your mineral needs, and then you need to feel healthy and satisfied within yourself. And if that means taking a pizza once in a while, like gluten-free pizza, if you can't handle gluten, then have a great, fantastic gluten-free pizza. Make this once in a while, and then you can live on this for a while. It's fantastic. You need to feel fully satiated all the way around, both in your body and in your mind. This is super. You need to get happy with your eating as well. It doesn't Eating shouldn't be a chore. It should be something healthy, nice, that you enjoy doing, and that where you feel you're doing the right thing. This is super, super important. Let's take a diet of mine that, like this morning, I had eggs, I had broccoli, I had some leftover sausage and bacon, and I made this fantastic egg pan in the oven, and I had the crisp on the top from the broccoli that got roasted a little in the oven, and I had the salt and the fat from the bacon and the sausages, and then I had a very nice egg texture around it, and I got satiated. It tasted fantastic. I put some fresh tomatoes on and some fresh herbs, some parsley and basil, and it was just I enjoyed it fantastic. It was healthy, and some people might say that the sausage isn't fantastic and blah blah blah. All this, you can't go in that way, but we need to find what's working for you. I have found what's working for me, and a lot of the things that I see that people ask me on my videos and on my podcast and on Facebook, that what should I do? I can tell you what's working for me and what's working for a lot of people that I work with, but you need to find out and test what's working for you. This can be totally different from what the literature is saying. So we need to find out what's working for you. And you need to find out what's working for you. But no healthy diet, you won't become super healthy on a diet. You need to find what's working for you. So you need to find out what the amount that's working for you, and the mix of carbs and fat that keeps you satiated and gives you the energy that you need. And another problem when we're talking on a diet, or a problem on a diet, is the part afterwards, and the overeating when you're done with the diet. You've been restricting yourself to eating all these super healthy, strict meal plan, and then after the 6, 8, 12 weeks you're done, you're let loose. What do? You're free. You don't have any structure. You don't have your plan anymore. You don't have any strict guideline on what you should do. And then you start overeating. Maybe not on the bad food, but you don't have a plan. But eventually you will end up going crazy on the pizza, and this is what I see on a lot of people, and it's the main issue that I see day to day and day in and day out when we talk limitation in diet. It's not the right approach for everybody, but if you start out your dieting plan or your healthy living plan with some restrictions, so you cut down on carbs, but you still have carbs, have your carbs at nighttime. This is just a lot more a fantastic way if you have your carbs at night or 3 hours before bedtime, and then try to introduce some fasting, like natural sleeping fasting. So don't eat late night snacks. Go in, eat a healthy dinner that gets you satiated with a lot of vegetables, like Sarah talked about in the Primal Principles. 2/3, like 75% of your plate should be of your dinner should be vegetables. It's natural thinking that this way, because you couldn't, as a caveman woman, be hunting all the time. you couldn't eat only fat and protein. It would be too hard. You would take what was available at the moment and in season. That's your opportunities, and that we should be living. That's what we're meant to be living by. But that's totally different for me living here in cold Denmark right now to somebody living near equator or in Africa or whatever, wherever you're living. But I can get all the same stuff just going to the supermarket. But if I live on the seasonal produce here and ferment some foods, I just have a natural, fantastic diet that fits with my circadian rhythm. It's darker here. It's getting better. And the sun is shining today, so it's fantastic here. But still, we need to get to fit into our lifestyle, and if you can synchronize the rhythm of the season or the light, so your circadian rhythm and your nutritional rhythm gets fixed together, it's fantastic. And then to get this more into perspective, when we move into the spring, especially here in the northern countries, we get a lot more light, and we start getting the berries and the higher calorie or the higher carbohydrate diets, stuff available in nature, and we can start eating this. This is fantastic because we get a lot more vitamin D. We're more outside. It's getting hotter. We're more active, and this is just the way we're meant to be living. So try to see the natural limitations. Like, I can't have a good Danish strawberry right now. I just can't. It's not possible. So try to eat in your seasons and stick to it. Let's get back to what we started on here. The limitations. Instead of me talking about seasons and the paleo way of living, the big problem with limitation is the progressive restrictions or limitations that we keep building. This means that you keep on building limits on your previous limits. So let's say you started this January on a very healthy, natural, paleo style of eating, and yeah, it worked. In the beginning, you lost 2 kilos in the first week or two because you didn't eat that many carbs, and the butter, the all the you lost a lot of fluid in your body, so you lost this weight, and then you lost maybe a kilo more, and then you got frustrated, and then you put a limit on. You went on the internet and you said, whoa, I need to do something else, so I'll push out all carbs now. No carbs, nothing. I'm out. So I put one more limit on. I was just low carb. Now I'm totally no carbs. Oh, okay. 1 week didn't work as well as I thought. Then we move up. We go to the Dr. Google again, and he tells us, hey, intermittent fasting is the thing to go. So we started doing that, and it worked fantastic. And then we stopped again. And then we went for Dr. Google again, and we jumped on here, and we got to a point where he says, keto, we need to cut out. We have already cut out all the carbs. Now we need to cut a little down on the proteins and add the fat for huge amounts of fats. And now you've stopped eating that many vegetables and you're still fasting. It's working fantastic with the ketogenic lifestyle. It's working very good, and you're losing a hell of a lot of weight. But now when you go out to family things, you're in a meeting with clients, or you're going out with your girlfriends, whatever you cannot eat all the same things that they can. It's not even just a little bit. You can't have any of it, because then you will be out of your ketosis and everything will be lost. It's just limits on limits, and I don't think that's the way to go, especially for me and for the people that I try to talk to here is family people and people with a busy lifestyle. You don't need kids to make this work. If you have a busy lifestyle where you go out with friends or you go out for business meetings, then this won't work. That you need to have that many limits. But if you work your life around getting this to what works in your lifestyle, then maybe intermittent fasting, 2-3 times a week is a fantastic way to cut down on calories, and a very healthy way of using your some of the ketogenic properties that we have when we wake up over a night of fasting, and we extend the fast, and naturally your body is primed to go into a small state of ketosis and starting making ketones, because you have used all your glycogen in the nighttime. So try to stop using or limit yourself or using limits in your diet, but find what's working for you and then switching it up. Limits or just restrictions can be okay, but not fully limit yourself from carbs or something else. And sometimes, I'm not saying that white sugar is good, but pure carbs is good sometimes. So in this week podcast, I hope you've just gotten, it's just me rambling on 2 minutes of notes and getting you something very good, tangible. So let's just go back here and say, I don't think you should do a strictly diet. I think you should find a diet structure or a lifestyle structure like paleo, or that's my recommendations, or whatever works for you. So find what's working in your life, and then try to see what you need to take in within this diet plan. So n equals 1 experiment. So you use your 1 equals you need to get your own way of style of diet plan. It doesn't need to be strictly paleo. Like my company is called Crudio, and it's cross paleo and food pulled into one word. That's why the name came about, and it's because I think you need to mix up some very functional working exercise style. You need to cross this up with a good solid base of nutrition advice, like the paleo diet, like I think we were meant to eat, and then mixing it up with real food and what's working in your lifestyle. This is what I think you should be doing, and you should be still using and then liking and subscribing to the channel. And I will be making a podcast in a couple of weeks with a purely my own take on how you should be using a lifestyle structure diet based on the paleo primal lifestyle. But I have to run now because I have a little girl that's waking up. So thank you for today, and remember to like, subscribe, and share this out to as many people as you can. This helps a hell of a lot, and I have a little girl that's crying outside. So thank you.